Hello there, my name is Thomas O'Regan, and over the last 4 years, me and my wife have 20x'd our property portfolio's equity position. I'm a professional property investor in Australia, and what I do is I help clients as a buyer's agent purchase investment properties and build investment property portfolios like the one I have for myself and my wife. Now, I just wanted to talk about a few of the benefits of using a buyer's agent if you are a very time poor person and you're not interested in getting into the weeds with researching properties and areas and markets and understanding property market cycles and getting to know real estate agents and getting to know how the negotiation process works. If you're not interested in doing research into all those things, I'd probably recommend getting a buyer's agent, with the caveat of there is a lot of buyer's agents coming out in Australia at the moment that, for one, they don't have any investment properties, so they don't actually know how to build an investment property portfolio. Two, if they don't have any investment properties and they don't have a portfolio, there's a pretty good chance that they also don't know what a good investment property looks like. So they might be selling you on things that they consider to be a good investment when in reality they don't actually know what a good investment is. They don't actually know how to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 10 properties. They don't know, because if you haven't done it, it's in theory, it's all easy. Until you actually do it, until you go through it, that's when the rubber hits the road, and you can't help people build something you've never built before when it comes to building a property portfolio. If you're a person looking to build a property portfolio, follow the footsteps, get a mentor, get a buyer's agent that has walked the talk, that has done what you're trying to do. And I won't say any more about that. But basically, I have a client that I'm working with recently, and by the way, all the clients that I've served up until this point, I've done the service entirely for free. For one, because I don't need the money, not because I'm extremely wealthy and I've got so much money, but because I believe that I have the ability to generate money in other means, and that is through investing. I don't need income from doing a service to help people build a property portfolio. I'm just doing that to help people out, and obviously to start off that business. First 20 clients are for free, and I'm about 3/4 of the way through that. So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense for me to continue on with that business and not charge. Like, it is a business that I want to build, I want to grow it. But yeah, basically I just set the goal for myself, do the first 20 clients for free. Honestly, I regret it, but I have to stick to my guns. I have to do what I say I'm going to do and do that. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, sorry I've blabbered on for a bit, was negotiating. When it comes to negotiating property, it is a skill, it is an art form, and if you do it right, if you get the negotiation right in property investing, you are going to save big money. Let me give you an example here. So I just bought a property for a client recently. I showed the property to the client. I told him all the benefits. I told him the price range, everything like that, and then I laid out how I was going to go through the negotiation. I put in an offer of 260. He said the client said he really wanted the property. I said that's great. So I put in the offer of 260. The offer was rejected. Straight away, the client went, well, let's offer 275. I said no. Like, no, that's not how you do it. You don't just go up to 275 like that. So because the property was not in a hot market, you draw out the negotiation. Long story short, we negotiated the price down from 275 to 270, and then from 270 to 265. So the vendor essentially came down about 10 grand. I came up about 5 grand. And the point is that 10 grand difference, that 10 grand that I saved the client, is essentially a buyer's agent fee. So if I charged the client, I would have essentially paid for myself in that part alone, right? But what the real benefit should be for using a buyer's agent is they're going to pick a property for you that has huge capital growth potential. Now, let me make this clear. It is a statistical fact that 90% of properties in Australia go up by 5% a year, year on year, every year. Okay, so it's not hard to win in property, and if you're paying a professional to source your property and they're getting a property that is going up by 5% a year, year on year, I mean, it's not a dud, but if you're paying for the service, that's a dud service. So basically, I source properties, not to plug myself, but I source properties and I build my entire portfolio sourcing properties in markets that have a lot of upside for capital growth. Okay, so, and one of the ways that you get the most amount of profit out of buying a property is you buy it for the right price. Because if you buy a property at the wrong price, you're essentially eating into your profits. Okay, so maybe if we bought the property for $275, that would have been like 6 months or maybe even a year of capital growth that we would have missed out on that property. Now, as I said, as I'm trying to make the point, when you buy an investment property, probably the most important thing about buying the investment property is its capital growth potential. Okay, so not like, although I did essentially pay for what a normal buyer's agent service would be just in the negotiation, that shouldn't be what you're paying for if you're paying a buyer's agent. What you should be paying for is them to source you a property that has huge capital growth potential, because the reality is that is where you are going to make your most amount of money. Now, for me, if I source a client that a property, they pay a $10,000 service fee, and they put in, say, $60,000 into the deal, they put in 60 grand. What is their ROI on 60 grand? Now, if the property goes from 250 to 500, or sorry, 260 to 500, that's almost a $250,000 increase. But what is the ROI on the actual money that they put in? So if they put in 60 grand, the property increased by 250 grand, that's like almost a 5 times ROI in however long it takes to get there. Now, it depends how long. Say if it took 10 years to get there, that would be a 5 times ROI on 10 years. And I'm just rounding the numbers here, guys, so don't grill me. But if that was a 5 times ROI on a 2 years, so for example, if the property doubled in 2 years, that is a far better ROI, because the time's compressed, than 10-year ROI, because 2 into 10, that's 5, so it's like a 5 times better result. So that is what you're paying. Like, I hope I didn't lose you guys there, but the point is, if you use a buyer's agent, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for them to source your property that has huge capital growth potential, because that's why we invest in property, to get capital growth. And I like to take cash flow along the way. So for me, it's like a win, 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 win every way you look. Anyway, guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.